This particular rock, it's a long story. It begins with a lady called Roz who made contact with us, and she'd seen the work we were doing. And what she had done is she'd found this particular rock early in the 1990s, and it was excavated and taken out of a site that she was preparing.
I still don't know to this day what made me look at this rock. It was encrusted with sediment, whether or not it was the colour that stood out from the different sandstone. But I picked it up and I looked at it and I took it over to my husband and said to him, look at this rock. And he said, yeah, it's a rock. And I said, but it's got carvings on it. Who would do that? And he said, I don't know. And just dismissed it. But I've kept it and it's here today.
She came down and met us, and Michael Tellinger was there at the same time. And Michael said to us at the time, my God, that looks like the Blombos rocks. But then he told us these rocks mark out the beginning of human civilization, of art, and they're agreed to be at least 70 to 100,000 years old, and this is the beginning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Blombos rocks are rubbish by comparison. What's happened is over the years that follows, Roz has made contact with different officials. She went and saw a geologist once. He was quite stunned, said the rock wasn't natural, and claimed it was ironstone.
He just said, I've never seen anything like it. And the geologist, she come over and she said, oh yeah, that's ironstone. She didn't take it. The archaeologist measured it and took photos, but the geologist said, oh yeah, that's ironstone. It's not from around here.
So it's not ironstone, because that is a really high-powered magnet.
Nothing.
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 It's not ironstone whatsoever.
Yeah. Both our geologists, who are some of the two top people in the field in the world, as far as I'm concerned anyway, that's my opinion, I'm standing by it, they're both talking about the fact this was formed in space. They're talking about meteorites. They're talking about the fact this was made somewhere special and it's an incredibly rare rock. They're not even talking about the fact that the engravings are cut into one of the hardest rocks you'll find on this planet, thousands of years old, supposedly cut by people who have stone, stick and bone technology. That cannot happen. There's two things that stand out here, the make of the rock and the fact that what we have here is a technology that's not supposed to be in this country, but obviously is.
Yeah.
That part for sure, because you would need to cut that. And look at the fine lines on that. That really is a piece of work. You've got to be so careful and you've got to have a very steady hand. And what do you cut it with? The tool.
Without tools, it's practically impossible.
It's impossible. And look at the fineness of that cut. What I found interesting when I looked before is all of these were the same depth and the same width across. We have a commonality all the way through. And the repetition of 33 degrees all the way through this is really pivotal. 33 degrees. The place where this rock was found at Bambara is on 33 degrees latitude. Now, if you want to tell me that's a coincidence, fine. But there are 7 lines on that first side. Now, what Dr. Derrick claims is these lines, the alignment and the intersections of the lines make a language. Very much like Ogham scripts, which is just basically lines. He believes this is the first language of the planet, and it's an international language that goes through everywhere. So what we have is the potential that this could be the Rosetta Stone, not for Egyptology, but for something even more important, the beginning of language and communication. And it could have been found in Bambara. And by the way, it is found within 2 kilometres of the rather notorious Bambara glyphs, which also was engraved into rock, and people argue about that one. But this one, we know, was found 1 metre beneath the surface. So it's not a fake, and it's thousands of years old, and the technology there doesn't fit, and the rock doesn't belong anywhere else. It's a story that's taking us somewhere, and the finish will be an original conclusion, and we'll have that soon enough.